Tubbed it off, is all I can say.
Okay, Joe.
Tournament bass fishing is no picnic. Play for pay, casting for cash on the Bassmaster Tournament Trail is not all fun and games. Some pros go to great extremes to find the fish, as Randy Blockett tells us.
I don't think these fish have seen a boat in months. I mean, the lake's really sealed in bad from end to end, and there's a lot of water in here that the fish have not seen lures in a long time if you can get to them. And it's a real dangerous situation trying to run into some of these areas because you can literally beach your boat on bare ground. So it's just, and which is good, you know, once you find a spot like that and really commit to going in there, you can pay off.
Today, our Bassmasters cameras are covering the $195,000 Bassmaster Texas Invitational at Lake Livingston. The pros face a tough assignment. Recent floodwaters have muddied the lake from end to end, with the exception of a few small creeks. And finding a spot to fish without a crowd of competitors to contend with is a problem. How to beat the fishing pressure and get bass to bite in off-color water is the focus of this three-day tournament. I'm Bob Cobb. Stay tuned. The Bassmasters will be right back from Lake Livingston at Onalaska, Texas.
Lake Livingston, 70 miles north of Houston, over 90,000 acres. Even by Texas-sized standards, a big body of water. Normally, this Trinity River impoundment would swallow up a 165-boat tournament, but that's not the case this morning, as the 330 contestants in the Bassmaster Texas Invitational check out the Lakeside Marina at Onalaska. Finding fishable, clearer water is the problem. The recent flood of the century left its mark on the lakeside area, and folks are still trying to dry out from the rampage. However, the lake level has returned to near normal, but almost everywhere it's muddy. There are isolated pockets and clearer water in Kickapoo Creek and Sandy Creek near the tournament headquarters. The back end of Pinwa Cove is clearing, and across the lake, Indian Creek and Wolf Creek are possible places with improving conditions. Among the pre-tournament favorites is Jay Yellis, a Jasper, Texas-based pro. He flew the lake looking for the clearest water and zeroed in on Kickapoo Creek. He's alternating between flipping the thick reeds with a 5/16-ounce jig and plastic craw trailer and casting a half-ounce Stanley Vibra-Shaft spinnerbait to underwater stumps and brush. A keeper bass in this tournament must measure at least 14 inches long. The daily limit is 5. Yellis is off to a good start, but he's had a hot hand this season. After 2 tournaments, Jay leads the Bassmaster Eastern Invitational Trail. This is the first of 4 Bassmaster Central Division Invitationals on the 1994-95 Bass Angler Sportsman Society schedule, and a qualifying event for the 1995 Bassmasters Classic World Championship. The top 5 anglers from the Central and Eastern Division Invitationals and 25 pros from the Bassmaster Top 100 Tour will reach the Classic Finals. The expanded BASS schedule has increased the opportunity for newcomers to test the pro bass fishing waters, such as Rodney Richards of Ardmore, Oklahoma. It's his first major tournament, and he's paired with Jay Yellis, a rookie pro's dream. Then the icing on the cake. Rodney's first ever Bassmaster Pro Tournament bass, caught with the cameras rolling. Barry Gross, a former Houston stockbroker, started as an amateur, entered in the Bassmaster Top 100 Pro-Am events. After setting a record for the heaviest total by an amateur, 59 pounds 5 ounces in 1991 at Sam Rayburn Lake here in Texas, Barry decided to change careers. He's fishing the BASS trail while still playing the stock market. Barry's optimistic, but not bullish on his chances here.
They're still dropping the water a little bit, but the problem is that it's water's gotten muddy. Fish are staying close to cover, and they're not seeing the bait as well. You got to slow down your presentation a lot, but I got one in the well right now. It's still early. Yesterday was a different day, though, than what we're working today. We've got a real overcast, and yesterday it was bluebird. The fish were real tight to these reeds. I think if I keep pounding these reeds, sooner or later they'll get in there tight, and I'll be able to nurse a few of them out of there. Yesterday they were bigger.
Despite the post-flood situation, Lake Livingston proves to be coming back as a bass fishery. Several 5 bass limits come to the scales at the day 1 weigh-in. Richard McCarty, an Alba, Texas guide, charges out front with 14 pounds, 7 ounces. But Richard's got a problem.
Well, I'm having to share my fish with a darn good fisherman. That's what scares me. And we're just kind of milling around with each other.
And who is this other angler?
Well, I turned around and looked behind me, and Rick Clunn was in there. And he stayed all day. And Tommy Martin pulled in behind us, and he fished a little while, and he left. But every time I'd think Rick would be gone, I'd turn around, he'd be coming right back.
But sharing the fish with 4-time world champion Rick Clunn isn't the only concern. Oklahoma's Alan Head may be a bigger problem.
A new leader, 15 pounds and 3 ounces. Alan Head of Oklahoma. Hold up your 2 big ones, Alan. Everybody's jaw drops, and you just kind of like, oh, well, another day at the office. Now, tell the truth now. How tough was it?
I'll tell you, Bob, it could turn around tomorrow, and I might not get a bite. That's how bad it is for me.
On the day 1 leaderboard, Alan Head posts the best score. 15 pounds, 3 ounces, but only a 12-ounce advantage. Richard McCarty is second, followed by veteran pro Dion Hibden of Missouri with 13 pounds, 13 ounces. Darren Seebeck of Texas and Homer Humphreys of Louisiana are close on their heels. Richard McCarty's big worry? Rick Clunn, who ranks 10th with 12 pounds.
We've got a minute amount of water out there, and you've got a lot of boats fishing it. So it's just a matter of trying to out-execute the few that are around you.
Good luck, Rick. We may need a traffic cop to control the boats in Pinwa Creek tomorrow. Stay tuned. The Bassmasters are coming right back. Day 2. Alan Head, the leader in the Bassmaster Texas Invitational, is also fishing the Pinwa Creek area, but he's working a cove near the mouth.
The only bait I could really get them to hit good was a chartreuse spinnerbait with a chartreuse blade on it, and they wanted it slow. They didn't want it very fast. I don't know, today the shad's not active in here like they was yesterday, and they're just not biting.
What's Alan's strategy when faced with muddy water conditions?
Well, the first thing I did, I tried to find the clearest water I could, but I think every boat that's in the tournament did the same thing. So I took the next best. I went to what I thought was about the second clearest water. And the water down next to the dam was quite a bit clearer than what this is. Then there's a couple little creeks up in the river that's pretty clear. But basically just slow it down and fish it as hard as you can and hope that you come up with a strike.
Back in Pinwa Creek, Richard McCarty is flipping a 3/8-ounce jig trimmed with a plastic crawdad trailer. He's working used water, fishing in a crowd of other tournament boats. There are numerous targets in this winding tributary. Most of the anglers are fishing the shoreline structure. However, Richard McCarty and Rick Clunn are concentrating their casts along the creek channel drop, where the 2 to 4 foot flat tapers off into the 6 to 8 foot deeper creek bed. Underwater stumps on the edge of the creek are key to their pattern. Rick Clunn's basic presentation is a crankbait, but he's also fishing a jig and plastic craw trailer. Almost the same lure that Richard McCarty is using with success just across the creek. Yesterday's leader, Alan Head, is struggling. but partner Bo Turner of Memphis, Tennessee picks up a strike on a white spinnerbait. They're fishing back in the creek now within sight of McCarty and Clunn. Eddie Deal of Alabama, dragging a Carolina-rigged lizard, hooks a bass, and Richard McCarty's instant reaction is to help land the fish. Richard, a guide on Lake Fork, is well known among Texas trophy bass hunters, but is fishing only his second BASS Pro event. Several keeper fish are still being caught in the relatively small tributary. But this bass is not going to help Alan Head. He's yet to boat a keeper today. But Richard McCarty definitely has figured out how to trigger the bass to bite in the off-colored water. He's got a 5 bass limit in the live well and a good bet to take over the lead. However, getting to the weigh-in may be a rough trip. Strong winds turn the main lake into a white-capped roller coaster. It's a wet and wild ride across Lake Livingston. But no matter how rough the ride, Jimmy Olive of Texas wasn't about to quit short of the weigh-in.
We're going to have a new big bass leader. This is for what, 2 bass? 10 pounds and 6 ounces, and one of them's got to be big. Let's see it. Hold it up. Pull. All right, now put your hands together. Okay. Whoa.
That 8-pound, 2-ounce lunker is worth a $1,000 bonus to Jimmy Olive for the day's Big Bass Honors. The big string of the day, 14 pounds, 5 ounces, belongs to Doug Garrett of Arkansas. He's pumped up for the final round tomorrow.
Took me an hour and 50 minutes to catch my limit, and my partner wasn't catching anything, and I've got a little trick I'm doing. I give him my bait, and he immediately caught one, lost one, and caught another one, and I've been trying some other baits to see what they hit, and I had a bite on one bait, and I took it away from the fish, and I said, there's a fish right there, catch him, and he threw in and caught him.
Do I understand this now, that you had a fish bite, and you didn't set the hook, and you told your partner to throw in there, and he caught the fish?
Yes, sir, that's right.
And these fish people are fishing for $35,000. You feel all right?
Well, it didn't feel like a big bite, but the next one I set the hook on weighed 4.7 or 4.6.
All
whatever.
joking aside, Doug Garrett has jumped from 17th place into the lead. Richard McCarty stays in the hunt with 11 pounds, 7 ounces.
I don't think anybody knows how nervous I am.
You look like a dynamite handler. Are you nervous?
Well, you know, I spent 2 days in the same creek with my hero. You know, he's been my hero since I started fishing.
Who's your hero?
Ricky Clunn. He's just, you know, his theories and his the way he fishes and everything. Our styles are a little different, but his theories and his thoughts on fishing, just, you know, they taught me how to fish.
What do you think about tomorrow now?
It's going to be tough. The fish are there. They're beginning to move around on us a lot, but you know, it's just one of them deals. We got to go fishing.
And Richard McCarty will be fishing for his first BASS victory, to say nothing of $35,000 to the winner. He leads with 25 pounds, 14 ounces. Doug Garrett is just 9 ounces off the pace, followed by Darren Seebeck of Texas, Joe Flynn of Wisconsin, and Rick Clunn, now in 5th place. Clunn posted a 5 bass limit weighing 10 pounds. Stay tuned. The Bassmasters will be right back with final round action of the Texas Invitational from Lake Livingston. The final round. Doug Garrett likes his chances for winning the Bassmaster Texas Invitational. He scored back-to-back limits, and this morning has the back end of Wolf Creek mostly to himself.
I came in here and practiced, and it was about 1 o'clock during the day, and there was 10 boats moving around in here. And I stayed in here probably no more than 30 minutes, and I went to flipping a jig on some of these isolated stumps here, and I had 2 fish I shook off, and I knew if I could come in here behind that many boats, where was I? So I elected to make this a primary area And I drew a partner that was catching fish up the lake about the same way. And so we went to his fish the first morning, and I couldn't get a bite on my spinnerbait pattern, and he was throwing this big bladed spinnerbait. And he caught a limit of fish, and we left his fish, and I came in here, and I took the front of the boat and caught a limit of fish, and we left them again. So I can thank him because I didn't have one of these spinnerbaits, and he gave me one, and I went to him yesterday, and I said, Ty, I gotta have a backup spinnerbait. Would you please give me another one? And he did. And what's real funny about it is his partner today is the one that's leading the tournament ahead of me by 9 ounces.
Tournament leader Richard McCarty is still sharing his water. And after a heavy rain overnight, conditions in Pinwalk Creek have changed.
I haven't had a bite on the jig yet. The only bite I got is on a spinnerbait. And I just don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know where they position themselves since the water's higher.
Blade size and color are keys to Doug Garrett's pattern.
In the watercolor we're in right now, copper just seems to work great, and hardly anybody throws copper anymore. They go to the bright blades. This is really a dull flash in this water. And as far as the size of the blade, the number 8, it's a big old thumping spinnerbait. And there were so many shad in here that the fish really didn't have to eat a spinnerbait. And I think this old bait just thrashing around down there beside that cover aggravated him more than anything.
Richard McCarty's moved toward the back end of the creek, away from Rick Clunn, and he's casting a spinnerbait. Rick Clunn signals our camera crew. So far, he's boated only one keeper. The bite may be over in Pinwalk Creek. The final weigh-in. Lake Livingston area fans anticipate an old-fashioned Texas shootout, but they didn't expect this.
Rick Clunn of Texas. He's caught a 5 bass limit, as you might expect. Unbelievable. Rick, I got chill bumps. Let me tell you, buddy. You have blown it off the top. 15 pounds, 15 ounces. Rick Clunn, you are amazing. Would you hold up a couple of fish?
Today, I knew it was a matter, when I saw there wasn't no boats in there, I knew it was just a matter of grinding it out and I could catch a good string because I knew I'd have time to let those little spots in there rest. And had Chuck and them left me, you know, film business, typically at 11:30, and I had one fish. I knew my key stretches. It had gotten a little bit muddier in there from last night's rain, so I didn't know how that was going to affect it, but also knew my fish were going to bite late. They'd been biting late anyway. And so I went down through there, and I caught, you know, right after Chuck left, I caught one at 12. I caught another one at 12:30. I caught another one at 1, and another one at 1:30. And that was the 5-keeper shot you saw me weigh in.
Rick Clunn, the champion of the Bassmaster Texas Invitational, his 12th BASS career victory. A winning total of 15 bass and 37 pounds, 15 ounces. Richard McCarty finishes second behind his boyhood hero with 33 pounds, 15 ounces. Doug Garrett ranks third with 33 pounds.
Congratulations, Rick. Let's get the photos first. He's got a lot of practice.
Right now, it's time for the Pros Pointer, the how-to section of the Bassmasters. Brought to you by Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
The key to my success here at Lake Livingston was many things, but one of them was the lure I chose. It's an old Norman lure. It's called the Big N. It's excellent in muddy water, high water, flood condition type lakes. The reason is because it's a wide wobble, a short bill, got a real wide wobble, pushes, moves a lot of water. It's got a rattle in the middle, and I chose chartreuse color. All of those things go into allowing the bass to locate the lure. I fished the bait for 3 solid days, working pretty much the same area. I was fishing a 1 to 2 foot channel, dropping off into a 6 foot deep. This was my whole key. I really felt like I had to find a lure that I could present to the fish, to more potential fish than all the other fishermen, and this bait allowed me to do that.
Mr. Amazing, Rick Clunn. We watched him come from behind many times, but this time it was truly a championship performance. Long odds and tough conditions. Next week, the Bassmaster Tournament trail heads to Lake Lanier near Atlanta for the Bassmaster Georgia Invitational. A different fishery, deep water, and finicky spotted bass the objective. Join us. For the Bassmasters, I'm Bob Cobb. Hope to see you all right here next week.
The Bass